Alrighty then. I think this gadget's up and running. Didn't have anything in particular to talk about, but something was telling me to go live, so trying to listen. We'll see. Didn't care for the quality in the last live, and hopefully this one goes a little better. My relationship with YouTube is one for the books. There's no doubt about it. The kids in the house, what's happening, young man? Just had something nagging at me to go live, so I thought I'd pop in, see how everybody was doing. The last live I did, the quality of the video was for shit. You know, I always set up in the same spot, do everything the same, but the videos never come out the same, that's for sure. How you doing, man? How's life treating you? This must have went out. We're up to 4. Hopefully things go smooth. Frustrating, all the interference I get with coming on this gadget. But it's worth it for the handful of good people that are out there. Oh, I need a toothpick. Jonesing for some chewing tobacco, but I think I'll settle for a toothpick. It's okay. Some tree work this week. Right on. Yeah, I could use some tree work around this place, that's for sure, but I'm not worried about it anymore. I just need to move. The trees can, the next owner can handle whatever they want with these trees. Nice thing is all the apple trees and the grapevine, everything's starting to bud. Won't be too long and I'll have apples all over the place. Sure is pretty up this way this time of year. Makes it hard for me to want to move, you know. But I got no love in this town, and I need to go where I'm welcome. No doubt about it. Not to mention I'm jonesing for some dogs, something fierce. And until I get settled in somewhere else, there's no way I'm going to get another pair of dogs. Winters are brutal. Yeah, man. Northern Wisconsin, no fun. I'm not far from the UP, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, not far away. And their winters are real brutal from what I understand. Rini said hi. There you go. Nice to see you. Yeah, I can't wait to get into a more tempered climate, kid. That's for sure. I wish Cali wasn't so expensive. Whatever I get out of this property, I got to make do wherever I end up. Oh, man. How's the signal, by the way, kid? And how's the quality of the image? Is it for shit? See the view count going up and down. And you're the only one that's showed any love so far. 5 by 5 all around. Cool. Right on. Let's hope it stays that way. See who pops in tonight. It's so much on the brain. Overload. Worn out. Burnt out. So eager to get moved. But it's such a daunting task. Looking at everything I got to get done to get out of here. Such is life. I drink too much coffee. The view count cracks me up. Good old YouTube. They don't show me no love. They don't put anything in circulation anymore. I get no attention. Trying to find somebody to do a dog rescue with and thinking I was going to get some traction on YouTube. What a mistake. And I know my demeanor when I was out here in the past, when I was rather upset, didn't help the channel much. But the funny thing is, when I was really going through hard times and I was coming out here yelling and screaming all the time, the view count was through the roof. Drama sells, man. Big time. When I was bitching about everything in this neighborhood and all the drama I was going through and coming on the gadget, yelling and screaming at the trolls, I got so much traction. I had a live that had 1,000 people in there at one time. Haven't seen it since. Now I'm lucky if a dozen people show up, from 1,000 to a dozen. Looks like Trump is getting price of meds down. Well, that'd be good. I know his plan for the tariffs is a good thing because it'll push jobs back into this country. And that's what this country really needs. And the pharmaceutical industry has been running amok for the longest time. What they charge for medication is insane to me. Insane to me. I got asthma, right? So I use an inhaler. The last time I bought an inhaler from the pharmacy, they charged me $500. $500 for an inhaler. I get this at Walmart, $34. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Mm. It's funny, if you talk anything positive about Trump, everybody thinks you're a wacko Trump supporter, right? There is no middle ground in this country anymore. Either you're a snowflake or you're some wacko Trump. Whatever happened to common sense? I think there's a lot of good things that he's done. I think there's a lot of bad things that he's done. I think he's way better than the last guy that was in office, that's for sure. And because Trump's background is strictly business, and I do believe he's a patriot. I think he loves his country. And to me, that says a lot. It really does. Yeah, they're brainwashed by MSM. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's unfortunate. It really is. People don't know how to think for themselves and they're so easily influenced. There's nothing common about common sense anymore. Everybody's flipping out, like I said, about these tariffs, but I know damn good and well that if things that are made overseas are priced out, that the companies will be forced to produce their products here in this country. Look at Ross Perot. How long ago it was when he was running for office, and what he was talking about when they were getting ready to open uh, jobs, or not open jobs. How should I put this? They were pushing to push jobs across the Mexican border, right? Manufacturing in Mexico, and how good that was going to be, and how much cheaper products were going to be. And Perot said, "Oh, you're going to hear this sucking sound, and it's going to be all the jobs going down to Mexico." And he was right. Think about all the people that are homeless on the street. And a lot of those people have jobs, but they can't afford a house. They can't even afford an apartment, especially in California. The middle class doesn't exist anymore. It's sad. And tariffs will force companies to start making cars and computers and whatever, even clothes. Levi Strauss, Ben Davis, Carhartt. Labels on the back of your shirt, made in the USA. We don't make much anymore. And everything that's made out of this country takes food out of the mouth of middle class people. It's shitty. It's really shitty. And it's going to take a long time before things turn around. My fear is we're going to have another world war. After World War II, when I was a kid, I remember people would talk shit, made in Japan. We helped Japan get back on their feet and pushed a lot of industry to Japan. Now everything's made in China. And you can thank Obama for that. He opened the doors wide open for that. Let them come into this country and buy land and start businesses in this country. That was illegal before Obama. It's sad, man. And it's too bad we couldn't just all get along and you didn't have to have all these rules and everybody could just do the right thing. Yeah, there you go, kid. Exactly. Exactly. And there's so many people out of work because of that. Even our steel industry, we used to, Pittsburgh, when I was a kid, we made everything. Cars were all made here in the United States. Chevy, Ford, Dodge. All the steel in high rises, right? I worked in high rises my whole career. And all that steel back in the day was made here. Now it comes on a boat from China. That's crazy to me. And the quality, everybody talks shit about the quality of the stuff that comes out of China. Clothing is paper thin, it rips real easy, things break. When something was made in the United States, it was quality because their people had pride in their craftsmanship. The world I was born into doesn't exist anymore. There's no doubt about that. Not to mention these damn iPhones and the gadgets, how much the gadgets have changed the world. Everybody's got their face buried into a gadget. Kids don't know how to go outside and play until the street lights come on. Grab your ball and your bicycle, head over to the park and play baseball. Remember Hush Puppy shoes? I sure do, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hush puppies. Yep. I can see the commercial in my head right now. That little doggy. Yeah. TVs, man. We made all kinds of electronics back in the day. We were the number one exporter of electronics. Zenith TVs, right? General Electric, blenders and coffee pots and all that stuff. We used to make everything back in the day. And think about what happened after the booger, man. Once COVID kicked off and everybody was working from home and now they don't want to go back to work and all those office buildings are sitting idle and empty, not to mention all the small businesses that went out of business. RCA. Yeah, there you go. There's another one. Absolutely. Absolutely. So many jobs. We made everything: dishes, appliances, Whirlpool, Sears, Craftsman, Goodyear tires, Firestone tires, right? Wagner brake parts. I could go on and on and on and on about things that were made in America that aren't made here anymore. And everything that is shipped in is made so cheaply, so lousy. It's too bad. You ever watch Vice Grip Garage? I love that dude. You know, he pulls up in somebody's yard, buys a car that's been sitting for 20 years, gets it running, and drives it home. And he takes apart these old cars and he goes, "Oh, look, this bearing says made in the USA. These parts I just got, stamped China on it, you know?" Crazy. International Harvester. I used to work for IH. Crazy. Absolutely bananas, man. Even tractors and bulldozers, Peterson tractor and Massive Ferguson and Caterpillar. I can never say that right. But Cat, all the stuff, Detroit Diesel. So many parts are made overseas now. It's bananas to me, man. Absolutely bananas to me. Mm. Case. Yep. Yep. Steel. Steel chainsaws, right? I mean, the list goes on and on. I can only imagine how many parts are on a steel chainsaw that isn't made here in this country. When I was still on a job site and I would go to the Redwood Trading Post to buy Carhartt stuff, and there were two racks. One said made in the USA, and then you could, because a lot of union guys wouldn't buy anything that wasn't made in the USA. Not all of them, but most of them. So when you went to a place that carried work clothes, they'd let you know if something was made in the States or not, because if it was made in the States, it was made by with union labor. And that was a big thing. You know, Jimmy Hoffa and the Teamsters, you know, this country used to be very strong. And since all those jobs left, so did patriotism, pride of craftsmanship. You know, you're old enough to remember, but the younger generation never saw any of that. They don't care if it breaks and you throw it away. Converse tennis shoes, you know. I remember when Adidas came out and they were made in Germany. and they were expensive because they had to get shipped in. I loved my Chucks, but Pumas and Adidas came from Germany. Now everything's made in China. Times have changed, my friend. Mm. Things are starting off a little slow. It's just you and me, kid. I keep seeing the views go up and down, up and down, up and down. Gotta make me wonder if my troll's having a heyday. It's so bizarre to be stalked by another man. McCullen chainsaws. Yep. Yep. We had so much industry, even furniture, man. Levitt's furniture and all that kind of stuff. The United States was a powerhouse when it came to manufacturing. Avon, Kirby lawn or Kirby, what do you call it? Vacuum cleaners, Singer sewing machines. Man, the good old days. Leave it to Beaver. And the middle class was strong back in the day. Everybody could afford a house. It's my opinion we're already in a depression. Forget about a recession. I think we're already in a depression just judging by the amount of people that are living on the street. If you think about the 30s, during the Great Depression, there were a lot of homeless people back then. Sure feels like we're going through it right now. I just saw something about Gavin Newsom doing something about cleaning up homeless encampments, and that state was supposed to spend $42 million to help rehouse the homeless. They didn't do shit. Where'd all that money go? It's crazy. That's why Elon Musk left California. He ain't making nothing in California no more. He took his shit show to Texas, I think. We used to have block parties back in the 70s. Yes, sir. I remember. I remember. I can still remember the hippies, man. Peace, love, and joy. That was the liberals back in the day, the hippies. And Richard Nixon was the conservatives. And the middle class didn't care. They were just straight down the middle. Maybe a little bit on the conservative side. Hippies were a minority. The liberals were pretty small. But the crap they push is unreal to me. Unreal. Don't make no kind of sense at all. What they're putting in the ear of the kids in school. It's crazy. I watched this video. This dude got pulled over, and the cop said, "Can I have your ID?" And he handed the cop his collar with a tag on it, like you do for a dog collar. And he hands the cop his collar with his tag, and he goes, "I identify as a cat." I could not, and he was dead serious. And the dude sitting next to him said, "Yeah, I'm his owner." I was floored, absolutely floored. I identify as a cat. Unreal. And the video was pretty funny. The cop was pretty sharp. And the back and forth they had was hilarious. He was talking about, do you have your vaccination? Do you have proof that you've been vaccinated for rabies? Should I call the SPCA and have you hauled off and verified that you've been vaccinated for rabies? Mm, unreal. I identify as a cat. PSYOP. There you go. A to Z. I agree. Yeah. Like I said, man, people are so easily influenced and brainwashed. They don't know how to think for themselves anymore. And they get so twisted up. When the whole others, people putting other right here. I'm not a man, I'm not a woman, I'm an other. And I saw that for the first time, some protest. I don't know if it was Black Lives Matter or something. And it was some heavyweight chick, and she was yelling and screaming at somebody else. And right on her shirt, it said other. I identify as an other. And she was so angry and she was so serious about what she was saying. I was dumbfounded. I could not believe what I was watching. Why would you call yourself an other? Why would you identify as a cat? It's bizarre to me. And I don't care if you're gay or you're this or you're that. That don't matter to me at all. Never has. I think everybody's entitled to be whoever they want to be, but it's gone way over the top. It's not about identification. It's about look at me, look at me, look at me, right? People do that shit for attention. It makes no sense. None whatsoever. And it's just divided this country even more. Because you have to pick a side. Why does there have to be a side to pick? Like Rodney King said, why can't we just all get along? You can be whatever you want to be, but you need to be polite and you need to be respectful when you're in public. When you interact with the public, good morning, how are you? Have a nice day. It's not hard to do. I don't know, man. I don't know. And then let's not forget about all the letting people shoot dope on the street, passing out needles, passing out crack pipes in the big city in Frisco. They were handing out glass pipes, tinfoil, and hypodermic needles so people could get high. And you could slam your dope, stick a needle in your arm, right on the sidewalk, and you weren't breaking no law. Boy, when I was a kid, if you were slamming dope on the street, they were taking you to prison, man. Possession of heroin, you were going to prison. You weren't going to jail, you were going to prison. They're not getting the proper attention at home because their parents didn't. Yeah, dude, it all starts at home. And once again, a lot of kids are being raised by their cell phone and they see all this crazy shit on the gadget and it confuses them. And mom and dad are so busy trying to hold it down that they're being brainwashed by whatever garbage they're watching on their gadget. My heart goes out to the younger generation. It really does. Because they haven't seen what you and I have seen growing up. They have no reference. I doubt I'll be around for the next 10 or 20 years. I'll be dead and gone by then. And I can only imagine what this country's going to be like in 10 or 20 years. How many kids went to college? And when I say kids, I'm talking, 20 something crowd. How many of those kids went to college, got a degree, and can't get a job? Can't make decent money because there isn't any jobs out there for them. Or at the public schools. Yeah, kid. Yeah, I agree. It's this country's going to have some hard times. And once again, I have a feeling there's going to be another war, another world war. And after there's a big war, there's a boom. After every big war, there's a boom. Industry and all that kind of nonsense. If you look at history after World War I and World War II, there's a big boom. And the countries go through cycles. And the United States is going through a big downturn. And if you go back to right after World War II, Project Paperclip, we got a bunch of German folks here from the Nazis, and we got a hold of all of their technology and the rockets and this and that and this and that. The United States has a strong military, for sure. I have no doubt. And we got technology that a lot of countries don't. I have no doubt. But the problem is we have no industry. You can't just be the world leader because you carry the biggest stick. We used to lead the world in a lot of things. Now it's industry and the stock market, right? Manipulating the stock market and having military power. It keeps all the other countries at bay. But China's not scared anymore, and neither is Russia. And if they team up against us, we're in deep shit. There's no doubt about it. And the fact that the Mexican border has been wide open for so long, and I've said it many times, I follow a lot of special forces on YouTube, and they're tripping. And I follow them to try to get a handle on my PTSD. But when it comes to the condition of the country and sleeper cells and terrorists and all that bullshit, which I don't pay a lot of attention to because I'm not worried about it. If it kicks off, it kicks off. But I got enough to worry about. I don't need to worry about all that nonsense. But the things they bring up is very spooky because it's true. There's millions, not hundreds of thousands, but there's millions of people in this country that aren't United States citizens. And it's got nothing to do with skin color or where you come from. It has everything to do with what is your intention. Putty cat. There is no doubt that Biden let in a lot of bad guys. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. People from the Middle East, people from China, people from South America, from all over the globe have come across that border. And I don't care where you come from. What are you doing when you get here? A little neighborhood I lived in, when we lived upstairs from Willie in this little shit neighborhood, one of my neighbors, the Areolas, Mexican family, and the dad was a coyote. He drove his pickup truck with a camper shell on the back, and he used to sneak one person across the border every once in a while. But that person that snuck across the border would usually go get a green card once they got a place to stay and they got established because they wanted citizenship, right? So they would take classes at the junior college or whatever, learn the Constitution, take some little test, and eventually would become a citizen. and they were stoked because then they knew they couldn't get deported. I mean, the right way to do it is to try to do that before you get here. But you know how that is, man. Next to impossible. But most of the folks that would sneak across the border when I was a kid worked hard, eventually would get their green card and then get their citizenship because they wanted to be here and they wanted to have a job. Not anymore. Just walk across the border and then disappear. But don't forget to get your free EBT card and your free cell phone and all of these things that the homeless people on our street can't get that. You know, do you see them walking around to the people that are living in their car and handing them a cell phone and an EBT card to help them get a job? I don't think so. But they'll take illegal aliens from across the border, put them on an airplane, and ship them all over the country on your dime and my dime. Give them a credit card and give them a cell phone and get them started. Why don't you do that for the people that were born in this country first? You know? Ugh. And the snowflakes get all uptight because they think you're a Trump supporter and you're a hater and all this. And it's not about that. You know, there's rules for a reason. We can't just go to Mexico and get a free EBT card and a cell phone and get on an airplane and fly me down to Puerto Vallarta, right? Not a chance. Go to Germany and see if they hook you up the way we hook them up, right? Or go to the Middle East. You know, people running around calling themselves another. Go see how they're going to get treated if they were in the Middle East. Shit. Mm. The kid. Hillsdale College will send you a free Constitution pamphlet. Oh, sorry, man. My reading sucks. Mm. And I'm all for anybody trying to better your life. You know, if you're being persecuted in your country and treated like a slave and abused, and you're fleeing your country for your safety, I get that. I do. But when you get here, you need to contribute and make a positive difference in this country for the better, for yourself and the people that live here. But for our government to give illegal aliens all this aid and all this money and not help the people that were born here that are living on the streets now, that's a crime. I don't get that at all. There's no excuse for that. None. And what they've done in California is unbelievable to me. The amount of money that they've wasted and continue to, it's like what Elon Musk is doing for the government. Somebody needs to do that for California. Audit California. Get rid of the corruption and the waste, man. The kid, assimilate. There you go. Yeah. I don't know, man. It don't make no kind of sense. And when you think about the sheer volume of people that have come in this country, it numbers in the millions, man. Not in the hundreds of thousands, in the millions. And like I said, back in the day, you know, my neighbor snuck in one person every once in a while. He wasn't doing it every day. And he would help them get a job and get them started. You know, they had to be a little undercover for a while, but they would fill out paperwork and get a green card. learn the Constitution and apply for citizenship and then go take your little test. They were proud, man, and hardworking people. Hispanic people from Mexico were very hardworking people, man, and they would take the jobs that white people didn't want. One of my foster homes that I was in, they were some do-gooders. They treated me good, and we went to a rally for Cesar Chavez down in Gilroy, I think. I was just a little kid, and he was helping the people that were working in the fields, you know? And that was ball busting work, man. Ball busting work. Be out there breaking your back in the sun all day long, picking vegetables and fruit and all that kind of stuff because it had to be done by hand. White people didn't want that job, it was beneath them. But, you know, Mexican folks, they just wanted a paycheck. They wanted a better life. They were willing to do whatever it took, and they wanted a fair wage. You know, Cesar Chavez, his whole thing was because the farmers were paying them slave wages, you know, pennies on the dollar, and they just wanted a fair wage. And it was a legitimate gripe, but because they were a lot of them were illegal immigrants and they didn't have their green card, the people that ran the farms and the lettuce fields and the fruit trees would take advantage, right? I get that. You know, fair is fair and right is right and wrong is wrong. So when it comes to this white dude and how he believes, I've seen it all. You know, I've been hated on by white folks and black folks. Believe me, I've never fit. You know, being poor white trash in a black neighborhood, it's a motherfucker, man. Cells, yes, sir. I agree with you, A to Z. The kid, I used to pick horseradish when I was a kid. There you go. Oh, Macho, so good to see you, young lady. Oh, I'm so sorry about your baby. I'm so sorry. It's hard, man. Hard to watch them grow old, and especially hard to try to figure out what the right thing is to do. My heart goes out, and you're in my prayers, you and your family, for sure. Macho, I'm stuck with what to do right now. Well, young lady, you just listen to your heart, listen to your husband, listen to your kid. You know, as a family, sit down and talk, love your baby, and, you know, lean on them and talk to them and ask them, what do they think? What does your little boy think? What does your husband think? You know, it's a family decision. And if he's in any kind of real pain and there's nothing you can do, well, the decision was made for you. I mean, watching your video today, he didn't look like he was in any pain, but I know what you were saying, and you can tell, you know, when things are going in a certain direction. I mean, you see him every day. So when it comes to what to do, just follow your heart, man. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, maybe you're right. You know, Kimba went fast. I mean, she just dropped dead. But with Mama Dog, I struggled with that for a long time. For a long time. And I waited too long. I know I did. But I wasn't ready to let her go. That's the hardest part about letting a dog go, is being selfish, right? And wanting to do the right thing for them. Sitting here talking about the condition of the world we live in and how screwed up it is and how selfish people are. That's why I identify with the dogs. People want to identify as an other. I identify with the dogs. It's hard to let go. Yeah, kid, real hard, real hard. Dogs are magical. Cats, same. And you love them as much as you do bloodkin. If you're big hearted and you really care about animals and people, your dog is just as important to you as your son or your daughter, man. Putty cat. Someday we will all get to reunite with our four-legged family members. Try to have faith in that. I don't have to have faith. I know I will. Deep down in my soul, I'll see my girls again. There's no doubt about it. You're welcome, Macho. I've been through a lot of shit in life. A lot of shit. Losing my mom and my brothers, being put into a foster home and all that shit. Not to mention having a mom that was a little crazy. No dad. I go on and on about war stories. But by far, without question, the hardest thing I ever did was lose my dogs. Without a doubt. And that's because they gave me what the humans dropped the ball. You know what I'm saying? My dogs gave me more love than any human on this planet, man. Even ex-girlfriends and all that, and the wife. Nobody, and I mean nobody on this planet loved me the way my dogs did. If you truly love them, human or animal, you will see them again. Absolutely, kid. No doubt about it. And I've said that for a long time. You can't watch your dog dream and not believe they don't have a soul. Not to mention, when you see a dog on YouTube that's in a kennel because somebody abandoned them and they're curled up in the corner and scared, because they have a heart, they have a soul. Some dogs don't trip. They run around, run amok, tails wagging the whole time they're in that little fucking cage. But think about it. There's a lot of selfish people on this planet. And when they lose a dog or they lose a family member, they don't give a shit. What am I going to get in the will? There's dogs that are the same way. Born under a bad sign. Not all dogs are good dogs. Not all humans are good humans. But the special ones, you know it right away. The nice thing about dogs, the shitty ones are far and few between. But when it comes to a human, it's the other way around. The good ones are far and few between. I learned a lot from my dogs. I learned a lot from the ex-wife. I learned a lot from my mom and my foster homes and my family, the good, the bad, the ugly of this world. I've lived it. I've lived through it. I just wish I would have learned sooner. Indeed, they have a soul, A to Z. Indeed, they do, my friend. Indeed, they do. It's hard to love a narcissist. Yeah. Well, see, that's just it, man. I always come on here and say, love the ones that love you back and do your best with the rest. You don't have to love somebody that don't love you back. You can try to be nice, you can tolerate them, or you can walk away, including members of your own family. Just because you share genetics doesn't mean you have to share your life with them. Do the best you can, for sure. Try to be there for them. But if you got a brother or a sister or a mother or a father or a cousin or an aunt or an uncle, and they steal from you and they lie to you, why should you put up with that? Because you have the same genetics? Fuck that. You do your best and move on. There's plenty of parents out there that do bad things to their own children, right? You hear about it all the time. My mom put me through the ringer, but I never stopped loving her because she had mental illness. So when she was in her right mind, she was good. She loved us and she was good. But when she wasn't feeling good and she was on one and she was drinking, she was hard to be around. And even as a young kid, I would call her out on shit and she'd get on the phone and ship me off to the foster home because she didn't want me telling her what to do. My brother's the same thing. We don't want you telling us what to do. I was a parent at 12. Not right, but it was the way it was. And for me, it made me charitable. All that shit that I went through, because what the dogs did for me and trying to find other broken people that are worth helping. I've known a lot of kids in foster homes. Some of them were good and some of them were pretty fucked up. Some of them were just like me. The more crap you put a kid through and they survive that and it doesn't break them, it shapes them in a way that makes them givers, caregivers, right? Because of what happened to them makes them, it shapes you. It makes you want to help people. When I was young, I chased a paycheck. I had a thing about going shopping for clothes because I used to have to wear somebody else's clothes when I was a kid. Getting secondhand clothes at the thrift store or at a garage sale or at a church. People would donate clothes to mom's church and she would take me to the church. And some of my foster parents did the same thing. Wearing somebody else's fucking shoes. You know how gross that was to have to wear somebody else's shoes that they had their stinky feet and a pair of tennis shoes and now I gotta wear them? So when I had a paycheck and I was making money, I was fucked up. I had a thing for shopping. Every week I'd go shopping for clothes. I didn't even need it just because it made me feel good. It's so ironic that all that shit I went through and how charitable it made me, and yet I ended up in this shitstorm in this town. And my whole little charity dream fell apart. Some people, no matter how good you are or how hard you try, life just fucks you off. And I get that all too well. I was very responsible as a kid and rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because I would get after them when they were doing something they shouldn't be doing for their own good, for their best interest, right? And people resent you for that. I was partying at my brother Paul's house, rest in peace. It was him, his girlfriend, Sonny, my wife, my brother James, and I think this guy Rudy, and we're all partying and drinking and having a good time playing bones or something. And they pulled me aside and said, "Hey man, we're tired of you telling us what to do. You're not our dad." I was like, okay. It's just because I was trying to watch out for them, not because I wanted them to do what I wanted them to do. I just didn't want them doing something that was going to cause them harm, watching out for somebody. But people don't want to be told what to do. I get that now. That's why I do dogs. I don't do you fucking humans no more. And after everything I've been through here in this town, I don't even want misfits anymore. I don't even want to share my life with another human. I just want dogs. It's simpler. It's not as painful. Yeah, it hurts when you lose your dog. No doubt about it. When they pass away, to me, there's nothing worse. But the crap that humans put you through is unreal. Unfucking real. And I know there's some good ones out there, for sure. I see them down there in the comment. I see you guys in the comment section all the time. But you're not here in my house with me. I'm alone on 30 acres surrounded by people that dislike me a great deal. It's pretty fucked to be my age and to be unfulfilled in life and not even be able to have a dog right now because of my present situation. It's fucking horrible, man. But it doesn't change who I am. You can't change who you are. The question is, are you honest with yourself? Can you look in the mirror and be honest with yourself? I can. For me, it's easy. Well, I was on one. Flow state. Putty cat. But now you know, Johnny, and you can be at peace with God and know that God is in control. Amen. Yeah. Try to control you with inheritance. Yeah, absolutely, kid. Ugh. Tony, long time. Good to see you, young man. Always a pleasure. Unconditional love, the kid. Absolutely, man. Yeah. Yeah. I'm all about the dogs. See, for me, it's eye contact. I can look in a dog's eye and I can feel their soul. And when I look in a human's eye, most of the time they can't hold eye contact. It's not that hard for me to know when somebody's full of shit. Some narcissists are pretty good at bullshitting and lying and playing head games. but even they can't hold eye contact and make me feel and believe what they're saying. Because when you look a narcissist in the eye, it's empty. Their mouth is running and running and running, but their eye contact is empty. It's blank. There's no soul there. It's like a nasty dog that's got its ears back and its hairs up, and you're sitting there trying to be nice and loving, but all that dog wants to do is bite you. You can see it in their fucking eyes. And if a dog is scared and barking and its ears are back because it's scared, you can see it in their eyes. They're afraid. But a mean dog and a nasty dog and a mean human and a nasty human, they're not afraid. They're greedy, right? Oh, I'm really on one tonight. Cypress Romeo. Hello, JohnnyO. Sounds like you had a bad day. I have to go back in this live and see. Yeah, go watch the whole thing. I didn't have a bad day today. It's just a heated conversation. I sure hope all is well. I have had a few bad days myself. Yeah, Cypress. No, it's all good, man. I'm just very passionate about dogs and humans, good ones. And I'm a little bitter being stuck on this piece of property alone, and my whole dog rescue thing fell apart. So I'm a little bitter. I can cop to that. I'm just very passionate about shit, man. And I don't hold nothing back. And it comes across mean and angry because my undertone after what I went through as a kid, I'm a pretty angry person deep down inside, but that still doesn't change my compassion for my fellow good humans. I got nothing for a narcissist or a piece of shit. But good folks that are down on their luck, that need a little help, I'm all about it. And to have good conversation and make eye contact and get a big hug from good folks like you guys down in the comment section, I appreciate that a great deal. And thank you for that comment. But if you go watch this all the way through, you'll get a better understanding. Are you still planning to go back to Cali? I don't have a choice, man. If there was somewhere in this country I could go where I had friends and I had allies, it doesn't matter where I go. I don't want to be in this fucking snow no more. Northern Wisconsin can kiss my ass. I don't want to be in cold weather like this anymore. I mean, I could do Lake Tahoe. I could go somewhere where there were seasons where, winter here lasts a long time, but I definitely don't want to be this far north in the country. I want to be the middle of the country or south. I don't want to be up north anymore. The days are too short during the winter. Winters are too long. I could do 2 or 3 months of nasty winter, but up here it's 6 months long. Winters are way too long up here, man. To have 4 solid seasons, I'm down with it. But up here, it's 2 seasons. You get winter and then you get a little summer. It's shitty. I mean, I saw 80 degrees the last 2 days. So that was a long answer to a short question. I mean, I love California and I got friends and family back there, but they got their own lives. They got shit to do. And I would like to live my days out with like-minded folk. You know what I mean? I want to find some people that want to help some dogs. I would love to have a little community, a little Misfit Island. A handful of people that could throw in together and take care of each other and be there for each other, depend on each other. I was going to try to do that here. I wanted 10 people to share this property with me so we could love each other and we could do for these dogs. It didn't work out. I thought I could handpick some good humans to live my life with, and I failed. Found a handful of good folks down in the comment section, but you guys are just like my friends back home. You all got lives of your own, you all got shit to do. I failed miserably. It's unfortunate. You know, I failed my daughter. She don't want nothing to do with me. I got nobody to leave my shit to. And that's a waste. But once I'm gone, I won't care anything about what I left behind. I'll be in a better place and I'll be reunited with my dogs and my brother and the wife and whoever else is over there waiting for me. So I won't give two shits about 3 trucks and 2 Harleys and 30 acres with 2 houses. None of that'll matter to me whatsoever. I just don't want it to go to waste. Anyway. Batshit. Good to see you, homeboy. Many most political types. I'm not sure what you mean about with that there, batshit. Cyprus. I get it. No human contact. Hold. No humans. I get it. No. Humans cannot hold eye contact with me either. Truly disgusting. Yeah, man, it's shitty. It's not hard to look somebody in the eye and be. To see, the problem is, homeboy, they don't know how to be genuine, right? They feel the need to bullshit you, especially narcissists, because they live their whole life telling lies, right? So that to be genuine, to shed a tear, have your voice crack, get excited and happy, right? Narcissists are very monotone. They're very cunning and conniving. And a lot of folks they just run scared. They don't know how to hold eye contact because it makes them uncomfortable. And that's their problem, not mine. If you can't be honest enough to see past my tattoos and my hard exterior to get to know me, well, then I don't need to waste my time with you. The people that know me know I'm down for the ones that are down for me. If you're a good person and your car broke down and you called me on the phone and said, hey man, I need a ride 2 states away, I'd say, well, let me see how much cash I got, how much cash you got. Do we got enough for gas to get you there? You know what I'm saying? I've always been my brother's keeper. Literally. Since I was a child, helping raise my brothers. Had to be my mom's dad. You know what I'm saying? Raising my own mom. So for me, that all comes second nature. Helping other people. And making eye contact, it's like a lie detector test. If I don't see the compassion and the passion, you need both compassion and passion. If I can't see that in your eyeballs, I lose interest quickly. The kid, they're sincere. There you go. There are a lot of narcissists. Their parents raised them that way because their parents raised them that way. Yeah, dude, it's sad. And I think there's a fair amount of people out there that are born that way. I've known plenty of other kids that had great parents, great siblings, and they were the black sheep, right? They were narcissistic. They were just a shithead. And there was no reason for it. It wasn't how they were raised, and it wasn't how they were treated. Born under a bad sign, whatever you want to call it. They were just fucked right out of the gate. Demon seed, you call it whatever you want. But I agree with you. Most people, that's learned behavior, but not always. Cypress Romeo, that's a fact. There you go, bud. I'm very animated when I talk. It does scare people. I got you. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm my brother's keeper. Literally, it's part of my DNA. Amen, Cypress. Amen. Humanity has been hoodwinked about so many things in this world. You ain't kidding, kid. Yeah, it's sad. People are easily influenced. A lot of folks don't have a strong will. And that's why I rub people the wrong way and I intimidate people, because I have a strong will. And for me, it was a will to survive. As a kid, I was pretty quiet. I was very observant. Mom used to tell me when we lived with Grandpa, kids are to be seen and not heard. You sat there quietly with your hands folded. You didn't speak unless you were spoken to. Manners and respect. So that's how I was raised. But when I came into my own and grew a set of nuts, now I'm in control. I don't have to be quiet. And if you don't like what I got to say, you can kick fucking rocks. That's all there is to it. When I started getting heavily tattooed, I can admit this. I wanted to scare people away. I called it my no pest strip. Because if you were going to judge me because I put an anchor on my cheek, then fuck you. I got nothing for you. But the problem is, I've scared away some good people too. Because there's a lot of folks that are good, they're just scared or shy, and they're too judgmental. They won't take the time to get to know you. So by covering myself in tattoos, I scared away some good folks. But it keeps a lot of shitty people away from me. And I'm okay with that. It's kind of weird. When I was young, I just wanted to be like everybody else. I didn't want no attention. I didn't want anybody passing judgment on me. I just wanted to be just like everybody else. And then it was like a light switch. I didn't want to be like anybody else. I just wanted to be myself. And then I didn't care what other people thought of me or whether you liked me or not. None of that mattered anymore. But as a young man and as a kid, that mattered to me a great deal. And some of that has to do with the PTSD, being broken and angry and not giving a fuck, because you need balance. You know what I mean? I can be too abrasive. It's why I don't talk to my kid. It's why I don't talk to my brother, because I rubbed them the wrong way and they don't want nothing to do with me anymore. It's sad, but that's my fault. I mean, both of them got their own baggage for sure, but I don't have a relationship with them, and I'm a good person. I might have been a train wreck and a drunk for a little while, but I'm not that guy no more. But it's too late. They're already gone. So I pay the price for my broken. And I wish I would have learned all this stuff much younger in life. I would have been much more careful about the things I said and how I said them and who I said them to. But it's too late now. Uh, uh, uh. Cyprus. It's truly sad the way people have no backbone. There you go. I agree. They cannot stand on their own. Amen, brother. Amen. The kid, or they'll be your, uh, or the I'll beat you like a redheaded stepchild. There you go, kid. I know what you're saying. Cyprus. It really doesn't matter to me either. It's hard being broken and angry, hard for others to understand, so I stopped trying to explain. Yeah, Cyprus, I get it, brother. I get it. You reserve the kid, you reserve the right to be you. If they don't like it, they can kick rocks. That's what I'm saying. But like I said, it's it's a balance act. Sometimes you need to compromise a little bit, right? You need to soften the blow. You can say what you want to say and get your point across, but sometimes you need to kill them with kindness, right? You need to be a diplomat. You don't have to be an ass kisser. You can make eye contact, make your point, and not piss somebody off. And that's what I wish I would have learned earlier in life. You know, Cyprus, like you said, a lot of people don't have a backbone. But if you love them, you know, for me, it's my daughter and my brother. Those are my two biggest regrets in life. If I could have been less abrasive, more understanding, put myself in their shoes a little bit, you know what I mean? I'd still have a relationship with those two. So you got to be discerning when it comes to who you rub the wrong way. You know, for the most part, I don't give a fuck who I rub the wrong way. But I wish I could have been much better at it when it came to my daughter and my brother. Anyway, that's a hard one. I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, Cyprus, it's tough. I was really going through it, and when me and my daughter drifted apart and had words, I was still drinking and I was just getting off the booze. So I was a real wreck. And with my brother, same thing. It was just a lot of shit I said that I shouldn't have never said because I was a mess, man. And the crap I was going through while I was living here and being upset, and man, I was over the top with my bad behavior for sure. And I see it now. But I also know I'm not that guy no more. And whatever happens from this point forward, if I'm fortunate enough to have some humans in my life, whether they're friends or family, and I know they're good people, I'll be very careful about how I treat them. I'm entitled to my opinions. I'm entitled to my anger, but I'm not entitled to rub that off on good people. And I fucked up and I did that. There were people I rubbed off my anger because I felt justified. Fuck the world. You did this to me, so too bad for you. You're going to hear what I got to say, kind of thing. And I was way, way, way wrong, man. Rubbing my broken off on other people that didn't deserve it. And that's why they walked away. Just like I was saying, if you got somebody in your life and they lie and they steal or they do this or that and they're blood kin, you don't have to be there for them. Just because you share DNA don't mean you have to be there for them. If they're bad people, you know. I rubbed my anger off on my brother and my kid, and it wasn't that I was a bad person, but I was a shithead. And they got tired of it and they walked away and they never looked back. Hopefully one day they'll see the new me and realize that it's not just smoke and mirrors and that I have changed for the better. But time will tell. Uh, 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 the kid. This country has a lot of mental health issues, and it's not their fault. It is usually how they were raised. I agree, kid. Romeo, I heard that. There you go, bud. Kelly's in the house. Good to see you, Kelly. It's tough to not look back, but a wise man told me if you have in the one foot in the past and one foot in the future, you crap all over today. Yeah, I hear you, Kelly. Kelly, wise. I don't have any family. They're effed up. Kid, man. It's hard when the folks that you share DNA with them. But you can't change them. And if they don't change what's broken in them, you're better off to walk away. I understand why my kid and my brother walked away. I do. I do. And if I ever had the chance to explain my actions and prove to them I'm not that guy no more, I would cherish that. I don't know that I'll get that chance, but I learned from my mistakes. And my dog's dying really opened my eyes. Going through the grief of losing my dogs and being here alone for the last